Hello, it's Elle. Today I want to talk about why I don't rate the books I read. I don't have a problem with people rating books. I actually use people's ratings. It's very common to rate books. We do it on Goodreads. I look at Goodreads reviews and I look at the rating, and it kind of helps me to determine if I'm going to read something or not. So I'm not saying that they're without value in themselves. I just want to talk about why I currently don't feel the need to rate. I kind of want to start with about 5 years ago when I got back into reading and really started tracking my ratings on Goodreads, because I think Goodreads is maybe a large reason why people do rate the books that they read, because when I was young, I never really considered rating a book. It was kind of just like, did I like the book or did I not like the book? And it didn't really go much deeper than that. And at this point, having a booktube channel obviously has to go a bit deeper than that. We have to have some sort of analysis, or I guess we don't, but I would like to have some sort of analysis on my channel of like what I like about a book. What made the book good? Was the writing good? Was the atmosphere good? Did everything work together? I kind of like to look at authorial intent. Did I think that was good? Et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so I'm definitely looking at books in a different capacity than I did when I was younger. However, when I first got back into reading and I would track everything on Goodreads, I rated everything that I read. And I rated based on feeling. And I have a feeling that that's a majority of how Goodreads goes. If people love a book, they rate it 5 stars. If they hated the book, they rate it 1 star. And I kind of started getting away from that because, first off, I started critiquing what my 5-star rating system meant, because I definitely rated when I would rate on a bell curve for the most part. I really didn't give out many 5-star reviews, and I really didn't give out many 1-star reviews. But I would give out a decent amount of 2s and a lot of 3s and then some 4s. So it was kind of skewed towards 2s and 3s. I think to when I watch people do like those reaction videos, so where they're reacting to 1-star reviews of their favorite books. And a lot of the time they're not that interesting because the person didn't really say anything. They kind of just said they hated the book. It's the 2-star reviews that I typically find have the most information in them, because it wasn't that they just hated the book. It was that they disliked it, but they kind of give some rationale for why they disliked it. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. What do I want to say to get myself back on track? I won't say that there isn't value in reviewing things and giving them ratings. But what I started to kind of think about is like, well, what am I rating it against? And if I'm rating it on feeling, really all I'm doing is rating it on if I liked the book or not, which is kind of how the Goodreads system is set up. It even tells you like a 1-star is like you hated it, 2-star dislike, 3-star you liked it, whatever. I might read a book at this point. So I gave 2 stars many years ago to Cinder, okay? And I had qualms with it. I had qualms with the atmosphere. I had qualms with some of the characters and how they were developed. I had a big qualm with the world building and how the world was developed. It was a YA novel, and I wasn't really the target audience for it. So I gave it 2 stars. Does that mean that I wouldn't recommend this book to teenagers? Absolutely not. I think teenagers would love those books. And I went on to read farther in the series after that and thought that they got better. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, what did the 2-star review really give if I am still willing to recommend that book to certain people? It just wasn't a book for me. And I think that this is also a kind of place where we get into, well, maybe you just didn't get the book. Maybe the book wasn't for you. If you don't like romance and then you read a romance, how is it the romance book's fault that you didn't like it? You see, like, what is the value add of you telling me you didn't like a romance book when you knew already you didn't like a romance book? And I'm pulling out romance as an example, but it could be really anything. Like, generally, when I rated books, I would give some like sci-fi thrillers lower star ratings. But in my perfect world of what I would give 5 stars to based off of what I've given 5 stars to in the past, I have never once given a sci-fi thriller or a thriller really a 5 star. So it could be the best version of a sci-fi thriller, but for me, my enjoyment of it might be high, but in my head, I wouldn't give that a 5 star because it's just not my favorite genre. So you see, I find that star ratings kind of get into just opinions on genres, and is that really helpful to people? Because I might read, as an example, I'm saying sci-fi thriller, I'm thinking dark matter in my head because this is a book I gave 1 star to, and I wouldn't recommend to anyone who, has a science degree in any capacity and cares if science fiction actually follows real science. But I've seen tons of people love this book, be obsessed with this book. Like it's a BookTube darling. And so would I recommend this book to people? I mean, I guess so, because people do tend to enjoy it, so I mean, I think it's helpful for, if I were to recommend it, to say I didn't personally like it for X, Y, and Z reasons, so that if you kind of understand my reading taste, you can go off of that. But if you just saw a 1-star rating, like from me, what does the 1-star rating give us? And I was kind of trying to come full circle, and I lost my train of thought, but I'm back on it now. I think this also gets into cultural understanding of books. I think that sometimes people give books lower stars because they didn't get them, but they might not have been the intended audience for it. If I'm reading a book by a Black author, and I'm just using this as an example, and the Black author says they wrote this book for Black people, this is not written with the white gaze in mind, and because of that, I may not be privy to some cultural references in the book or some cultural knowledge in the book, which makes me kind of understand the book a little less. Now I would be giving something potentially a lower rating based on my lack of understanding of culture. So I think that it's fine as a reviewer to acknowledge that things might have gone over my head. I might not be the intended audience. I might not have understood everything that was occurring in this. And because of that, it lowered my enjoyment. But does that mean that I can rate something lower because of it? So these are kind of the thoughts that have been bumping around in my head as I've slowly stopped rating books on Goodreads and Storygraph. So I guess that's just me getting you to where I'm at right now. This is a BookTube channel. I enjoy reviewing books. I enjoy talking about books. I enjoy talking about things I thought were done well and things that I thought weren't done well and why. But you won't see me rating books on this channel. Another thing I want to get into with respect to this is authorial intent. Now, there's a whole conversation happening on BookTube with about authorial intent that I'm not going to get into, but some people read with authorial intent in mind and some people don't. And I am, not always, but a lot of the time, I read with authorial intent in mind. I ask myself, what do I think the author was trying to accomplish? And do I think they did it successfully? And to me, even if I wasn't the intended audience, even if I didn't personally enjoy the book, I still want to speak highly about something if I think the author accomplished what they set out to do with the novel. And that type of nuance cannot be explained in a rating system. So I think I've rambled on about this for long enough. That is all I got for today. And until next time, happy reading.